Good afternoon. Welcome everyone to this April 17th, Wednesday meeting of the Committee on Judiciary and Hawaiian Affairs here in room 325 of the State Capitol. We have two resolutions before us. Before we go into that, just some housekeeping rules for those of us who wish to testify on Zoom. Please keep yourself muted and your video off while waiting to testify, and after your testimony is complete. You have a chat function on Zoom that you can use to chat with our technical staff. If you're disconnected, we'll make every effort to reconnect you. Please avoid any using trademarked or copyrighted images. Please refrain from profanity or uncivil behavior. Practice aloha, please. So, as I said, two resolutions before us at this time. We'll begin with SCR 213, requesting the Office of the Administrative Director of the Courts to collect, compile, and share data on the assessment of fees, court costs, fines, and restitution in cases against minors. And first up, we have from the judiciary written testimony to the effect that they are willing and able to provide the data requested. Next, we have Office of the Public Defender.
Good afternoon, Deputy Public Defender Darcio Forrester. I'm the supervisor of our juvenile division. So we are very much in support of this resolution. We really think we need to collect this data and do it statewide so we can see if what's happening in one circuit is also happening in another circuit. I can only speak to what's happening on Oahu, but this will help us collect data to make sure that the policies going forward that impact juveniles and the assessment of fines and fees is being done fairly across the state. So we strongly support this. Thank you.
Thank you very much. ACLU of Hawaii, in support. Berkeley Public Advocacy Clinic on Zoom. Please proceed.
Good afternoon, Chair, Vice Chair, and committee members. I'm Ava Kargosha, a second-year public policy master's student in the Policy Advocacy Clinic at UC Berkeley School of Law. On behalf of the National Debt-Free Justice Campaign, we respectfully ask for your aye vote on SCR 213 to collect data on fines and fees in cases against minors under age 18. Despite reductions in youth incarceration in Hawaii, racial disparities in the juvenile system persist. Native Hawaiian and Micronesian youth are more likely to be imposed punitive measures at every stage of the juvenile legal system, including the assessment of monetary sanctions. Unfortunately, data on this subject is scarce. We learned that no court or state entity is actively and comprehensively tracking data on juvenile monetary sanctions. However, we know from First Circuit Court data that only 1/3 of assessed monetary sanctions were being collected. Last year, a Senate resolution was passed on this topic. However, we were informed by the Administrative Office of the Courts that without a concurrent resolution, the AOC is not able to fulfill the data request due to limited capacity. Therefore, a concurrent resolution is crucial to the AOC's fulfillment of this request. As Hawaii continues to make bold reforms to reduce recidivism and improve outcomes for youth, collecting data is critical to building holistic, rehabilitative solutions. Evidence-based insights will not only allow family courts to identify juvenile case trends, but also to track the progress of existing programs that reduce youth recidivism. Respectfully ask for your aye vote in favor of SCR 213. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you very much. Hawaii Friends of Restorative Justice in support. Opportunity Youth Action Hawaii in support, and Hawaii Health and Harm Reduction Center submitted testimony in support. Anyone else here on Zoom wishing to testify on SCR 213? Seeing none, members, any questions? No, written support. If not, we'll move on to our second and final resolution of the day, and it's SCR 27, encouraging the U.S. Navy to eradicate octocoral and other invasive species from Pearl Harbor. And first, we have the Department of Land and Natural Resources. Please.
Aloha, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee. I'm Brian Nielsen, Administrator for Division of Aquatic Resources. We want to thank you for hearing this resolution today. We consider this invasive soft coral, this octocoral, probably the biggest invasive threat that Hawaii marine waters have seen since the introduction of seaweed to Kaneohe Bay in the 1970s. Currently, it's known to have taken over about 82 acres in Pearl Harbor right now, and we're really concerned that it's going to spread outside of Pearl Harbor to adjacent reefs and possibly to other islands as well. The Navy's been doing a great job coordinating partners and working to eradicate it, but we really want to see this soft coral eradicated before it spreads to other waters. So very supportive of the resolution. Happy to answer any questions if there are any. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's see, we have testimony from the Hawaii Military Affairs Council offering comments, and testimony from Larry Verrey of the Pearl City Neighborhood Board in support. Anyone else wishing to testify in SCR 27? If not, members, any questions? Oh, Chair?
Just curious, Brian, what is the most effective way to eradicate this octocoral?
So I also have Lizzie Monaghan here, who's our invasive species biologist, but right now they're trying to tarp it. So they lay down a tarp and weight it down with sandbags and basically just smother it. But you can imagine everything else under there is also going to get smothered, but that's kind of what you're going to have to deal with to be able to get rid of this stuff. We're not getting, all of the information on how these different trials are working, but I understand that's probably the most effective treatment. But anything you wanted to add to that, Lizzie?
Yeah, they also have been doing manual removal. So in like softer substrate, they can just collect it in bags. But yeah, there's a lot of technologies out there that it would be nice for them to test.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry, more questions. While you're up there, in your testimony, you asked that you be provided from the U.S. Navy, by the U.S. Navy, their updates on their success in dealing with octocoral, and that you've really not heard from them directly about this thus far. Is that correct?
So we're part of a online working group that meets every other week, where they provide verbal updates and kind of like anecdotal updates, but we haven't been receiving data from their trials and things like that, things that would actually inform us if it does spread to state waters for us to take action.
Okay, thank you very much. If there are no more questions, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Have we been working with our federal delegation on this? That's our
Yes.
avenue to speak with the Department of Defense.
Yes, so we've been working with the congressional delegation. Congressman Case actually got in the water and dove Pearl Harbor, I believe, in December. And we've also been talking to Senator Hirono and Senator Schatz's staff about it as well, mainly to try to see if we can get some funding for Department of Defense to be able to eradicate it.
Can you explain the Superfund status of Pearl Harbor, to your knowledge?
Yeah, I would have to get back to you on that, yeah.
I mean, because my understanding is that because of decades of pollution, it's been a Superfund site for many years, and the Department of Defense, particularly the Navy, has tried to direct some remediation efforts there, and in I believe some of the adjacent valleys, so like Moanalua, that was part of like the purchasing of Moanalua. Is there a way for you folks to leverage that status?
Yeah, that's a good idea. It's something we can look into.
Does that happen in other places where it's like a Superfund site, so like we can, I mean, I'm coming off of like 3 years of working on Red Hill, right? Where it's like, the only way we got in was because there was a joint agreement with the state, and significant amount of oversight. Otherwise, it's like I'm not sure what the state can do.
Yeah, that's a great idea, and I can look into if there's programs through the super site you know, that we could tap into for this. We've been talking to REPI as well to see if there's REPI funds to support. So I think any avenue we can to try to find funding to tackle the problem would be helpful.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Let's move to decision-making. SCR 213, our recommendation is we move this out as is. Members, any questions, comments, concerns? If not, Chair for the vote.
Thank you. On SCR 213, Senate Draft 1, recommendation of the chair is to pass unamended. Chair and Vice Chair vote aye. Representative Evslin is excused. Representative Ganadin.
Aye.
Representative Holt is excused. Representative Ichiyama is excused. Representative Iligan.
Aye.
Representative Kong.
Aye.
Representative Miyake. Aye. And Representative Souza is excused. Your recommendation is adopted.
Thank you. On SCR 27, SD1, I'd like to recommend two small changes. One is to add a "be it further resolved" clause just before the final one. Be it further resolved that the U.S. Navy is urged to provide the State Department of Land and Natural Resources with regular updates on the status of these eradication efforts and the extent of invasive octocoral. And second change is to add to the final "be it resolved" clause that a copy of this concurrent resolution be transmitted to the U.S. Secretary of the Navy and the chairperson of the Department of Land and Natural Resources. With that, questions, comments, concerns? Representative Ganadin.
Speaking from the experience of being the representative for Pearl Harbor Hickam over the last 4 years, you know, I was here during all the representations that the United States Navy made regarding Red Hill and the fallout from that, and the really intense legal conversations about oversight that we're still having. I think this resolution is important, but the state should be considering further steps to share oversight of the waters of Pu'uloa with the United States Navy and the Department of Defense moving forward, considering that this might be an existential crisis regarding the coral reefs of the state of Hawaii. So it sounds like a big ask, but it's a big problem.
Great, let's do that next year.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions, comments? If not, Chair for the vote.
Thank you. Recommendation of the chair is to SCR 27 SD1 to pass with amendments. Chair and Vice Chair vote aye. Representative Evslin is excused. Representative Ganadin. Aye. Representative Holt and Ichiyama are excused. Representative Iligan. Aye. Representative Kong.
Aye.
Representative Miyake.
Aye.
And Representative Souza is excused. Your recommendation is adopted.
Thank you, Chair. And just a note before we adjourn this final meeting of the House Committee on Judiciary and Hawaiian Affairs for the session, I'd like to thank Chair Tarnas for his outstanding leadership of this committee for the past 2 years, and I'm sure he's anxious to come back for 2 more years. Thank you very much. We're adjourned.
Thank you.